Hey guys, Station X here, and today this will be part 5 of video game pickups. Now, I think in this episode, this is like the most diversified collection of games we have here, because for the most part there was like a certain theme that it followed, like it being maybe only PlayStation, or it's only mostly sports games or shovelware. And while I've said a few times already that while you're collecting games, it's just kind of the nature of the beast when you're completing systems like that. Collecting is all about what you want to put in your collection. So if you don't want to collect things you're not gonna play or want, you don't have to. But when you set the goal out to get every single game for a video game system, then not every game's a winner. So you end up getting stuff like this that or really like this that you don't necessarily want, but I mean, it's just part of the set, so you gotta get it. Like collecting every single Pokemon card, there's some commons in there that you not necessarily want, but if you want every card in the set, you gotta get it. So, with that being said, I actually think in this episode there's a lot more of games that are like sought after compared to shovelware this time, because there were some certain stuff that I had on other systems but then rebought, stuff that I had traded in a while ago when I was a kid, and then bought it back, and it's just stuff I never got the chance of playing, and now I could play it for finally. Let's just get started. Let's get right into it, because there's a bunch of games here, so let's just get right into the pile. First off, we got Disney Infinity for the 3DS. Now, at least as far as all the Disney Infinities, is a little bit unique, but I mean, it's Disney Infinity and it's on the 3DS. I think this is like, I want to say the 4th time this has appeared in the video game pickups videos. So I mean, I probably still haven't bought every single one too. That's the thing. So these things are gonna never escape me. Actually, making their debut into the series, GameCube games have finally entered the series. Now, the GameCube games have been getting way expensive nowadays, is because of the fact that the kids who bought this system when it first came out back in 2001 and grew up with it, pretty much my age group, is now starting to, they're adults now, they want to bring it back, their childhood, and they want to revisit those classic games, like stuff like Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, That's a big one right there. And of course, Legend of Spyro, kind of sounded a little similar to Zelda here, but I mean, hey, Spyro is always awesome. GameCube games have been going up in price. They've been right now like the thing to collect right now, and so because there's a big demand for it, and not GameCube not doing it very well when it first came out, meaning there's not as many copies of things. So the more popular stuff like Mario Party, Paper Mario, all the pretty much anything Nintendo made is going to be very expensive, and then the really rare things that they didn't make many of are they're like stupid expensive prices, and I just think that's a little bit of a shame. Never played these two, and of course, like Paper Mario is one of those games that's like part of the collecting goal where I want to get all the first party titles for a system, and this being made by Nintendo fits that list. So I'm happy I was able to find this one specifically. And then of course you can never get too much Spyro. So I mean, I always liked Spyro. He was always a cool character to me, and I always just loved this purple dragon. So I mean, ever since I played it at my cousin's house, I was just always hooked to him. So it's nice to have these games finally in the collection. I actually think that brings my GameCube collection up to 48 titles, because that one I had like the smaller end. I know 48 is not small by any means of the imagination, but I mean, it's compared to other systems that I own, I don't have as many GameCube games as I do like Xbox, Wii, things like that. But going into the Wii, we have Rayman, Raving Rabbits, which I think this is my first Rabbits game, so I mean, it's a Rabbits game, and it's weird and wacky, and I mean, I do think they're very funny. I just never really played them myself. And the main one I want to say here is Punch-Out! Now, and there's another game that I missed out on, and I finally can play it. I actually own the Super Nintendo Punch-Out, and the original one, the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, the one that, you know, started it, you know, on the NES. I think it's funny, this thing is compatible with the Wii balance board, which I don't know what the balance board did. I mean, you think I can dodge using the Wii balance. I think you needed it? Is this required? I don't think it says it's required, but I hope not. And of course, it's not perfect. The back cover is damaged, but honestly, the spine looks good, the front looks good. That's all good to me, you know. So that's what I look for. But this was a game that everyone would say this is a great game on the Wii, and the Wii had a lot of doo-doo games. So I mean, the ones that Nintendo made were always like the best and the greatest and awesome. And I'm just really happy that this is added to the collection. The next thing I want to try to get, which is one of the games in the series I have in this pile, but for the one for the Wii, I want to get some of the Kirby games that they made for the Wii. Specifically that, I think it was like the 30th anniversary, or no, 20th anniversary sort of deal. You know, they made like an anniversary thing for the Wii for Kirby, and I want to add that to, you know, to the collection, hopefully at some point. Now, for the most part, you know, after these two, these are pretty much just all shovelware, so we're going to just quickly get through them here. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. I'm actually a really big fan of the original, and I'm kind of excited to try this one out to see just how different it is compared to the original. Based off the back of the cover, it looks a lot different. And of course, this is the 360 version, so it's not, you know, they made this on Xbox One, so it's probably not like the, you know, the best version of it. You know, probably better on Xbox One or PS4. But hey, at least I got it, and I didn't pay that much for it. It was like $1 or so. So I mean, you know, happy to have it in the collection. And then Dragons. I'm gonna really butcher the title here. I can't pronounce it. I just cannot pronounce it. Dark Arisen. So this game I got as a gift. So I mean, this one was just a simple like, hey, I'm getting rid of this. I know you collect games, so here you go. So this one I'd never heard of before, and it's just part of the collection now. So that's pretty much mostly what I got to say about that. And then we get Wipeout. There's another Kinect game. You know, Kinect games are hit or miss, I think. Mostly misses. And I mean, Wipeout, I love the show. I've always thought the show was really funny. So, I mean, it's Kinect, so I can't say this is going to be like the best experience on the face of the planet, but you know, it is what it is. And of course, Skylanders Trap Team. So the same deal with Disney Infinity as the same deal with Skylanders. Because of the amount of Skylanders they made and for all the different systems that they did, it's just insane. Now, I think someone pointed out in my Wii U video that, like, because Skylanders on the Wii U, like, there was every single one that came out for the Wii U except for the first one. But I think it was in Japan only, they had the first Skylanders, like Spyro's Adventure, on the Wii U, made by Square Enix of all people, or at least like published by Square Enix, and it was just, I just can't wrap my head around that. Here we have Trap Team for the Xbox 360, and I mean, I don't know, I've never played a Skylanders game, and I probably will never play a Skylanders game. I don't think they're like super horrible, it's just I don't want to buy all these plastic statues for me to play the game. So I mean, yeah, there's just stuff to, you know, fill in the collection to complete the set. So, and we go from one Toys to Life game to another. At least this one would have been one I would have tried, but I feel like because I missed the boat on this one, you know, buying all the little things you need for it, I don't know if I want to go out and try to search for this stuff. Although there is a level on here that's like Portal 2 related, which I thought was cool. So I don't know, I may try to track down some of these pieces to play it a little bit, just at least try it, because this one's the only one out of Disney Infinity and Skylanders I would have been like interested, because I'm a Lego guy. I love Legos, and as we'll get to later on, I love the Lego series. So I mean, you know, I've always had the most fun with it. My favorite being Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, that was the first one I played. Then going into Star Wars, as we can see here, you know, just going forward with the Lego series is just always a fun time. It was the best co-op experience, you know, as well as some others like Portal 2 and such. But it was one of, like, I feel like it's the easiest as a kids-friendly game to get into. And then we got Minute to Win It. And I'm just going to kind of bundle these all together. These are all Kinect games here. Zumba Fitness. We're going to just say that all the way for last. Yeah, Your Shape Fitness Evolved. Minute to Win It. Two of these are just fitness games. So, I mean, that could just go in the pile right there. I don't even care, honestly, about that. Fitness games are what they are. They're fitness games. I don't consider them fun, really. Now, this one, the cover's kind of messed up, so that's unfortunate. But, I mean, it's Minute to Win It. I actually did enjoy the show when I first saw it. Yes, I did. This did pop up on my screen, my TV on one point. I am a little curious to see how this plays, but, I just don't look. I don't like connecting the Xbox 360 Kinect. I just hate that. I did not enjoy using the Kinect a lot. It just never really worked for me. It just never wanted to do the thing it's supposed to do, and I was just tired of trying to make it to work, like bargaining with it, like, please, can you please work, please? And just, no, didn't want to do his job. So this will probably just sit on the shelf for all eternity. And then, of course, this was like the thing to rival Wii Sports, Kinect Sports, and, it just kind of is what it is. At least this is actually kind of like I think, the best quote-unquote Kinect game. I mean, you could argue there's the Star Wars one, and then maybe Kinectimals, but Kinect games, I don't think anyone has a favorite game, and it's the Kinect. If you do, honestly, more power to you. I've never met anybody who really enjoyed the Kinect games and said, like, that's my favorite game of all time. That's just me. But moving on to this next pile, which I think for the most part, besides these three games, which we'll start with, this part I think is the most important out of that pile. But we got Rbi Baseball 2016. This is actually before Mlb the Show started becoming getting on Xbox. They finally put the show on Xbox, and as we'll see later on, Nintendo Switch. So I mean, I didn't like these baseball, the RBI series. I was not a big fan of them. I'd much rather have preferred the Mlb the Show. So I was just, happy to see MLB get on there. This was another gift. Like, these two were just gifts of people who were getting rid of their games, and I was happy to take them instead of them throwing it out. Games I didn't have for PS3, and so Pictionary. I feel like that's a little self-explanatory, but it used the U-Draw, which was a THQ thing, and it didn't do very well, and it was one of the reasons why THQ isn't, it went away for a bit. I do believe they came back. I'm not too sure. It's like THQ Nordic now, so I mean, I don't know if it's back to its original glory, but I mean, and then there's this is just a guitar game, pretty much. Think of like Guitar Hero, but just not Guitar Hero, if that makes sense. And it's compatible with most other music games and instrument controllers. So that leads me to believe they didn't make their own. They just said, yeah, just use Guitar Heroes or Rock Bands, which is interesting. It's got 70 songs from top artists, and I mean, this is a competitor to Guitar Hero. There's really not much else to say about it. It's got Kid Rock on there. It's got Eric Clapton, and which one is that one? What does it say? Dave Matthews Band? It's a little hard for me to see. I don't have my glasses. But here's the real super meat and potatoes of it. Where GameCube, the GameCube games and the Punch Out for Wii was the biggest games on that pile. These are the ones I've started with recently. We're just gonna go from the bottom a bit. These two Xbox One games, Final Fantasy 15. I owned this on PS4. It was one of my favorite Final Fantasy games. I might be a little bit on the low end when it comes to saying this is my favorite. I don't think when someone says what's your favorite Final Fantasy game, people will pick this one all the time. But this is the one I started with, and it's the one that hooked me onto the series, and it made me enjoy things like Final Fantasy VII, both the original and the remake, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy 12, pretty much all the ones from NES and Super Nintendo. So like 1 through 6. Just like I liked all the different ones, and I'm just not. It's always funny because it's like I'm not the biggest RPG guy. I always say it in like every video that RPG games pop up. I'm not the biggest RPG guy, specifically the turn-based ones. But every now and then there'll be a game or a specific game series that will just get me into it, and it'll make the exception for me, you know? And I just think it's a testament to how Final Fantasy is. It's just a really good game, despite me having the inability to play RPG games successfully without dying a lot. It still was able to get me hooked on it, and I was just blown away by this one. And I think what helped it also was that there was a crossover apparently with Assassin's Creed, and it was able to use Altair's outfit in this. And that really just warmed my heart, because Assassin's Creed was one of my favorite third-person open-world games of all time. It was one of my first ones that I played that was like straying away from the first-person shooter games I would usually play. So this right here, you know, having that really helped. I used that outfit the entire time, so it really helped me, you know, get into Final Fantasy 15. So to have it for Xbox One, which is the system I bought before the PS4 in that generation. Like, I bought an Xbox One over a PS4, so I mean, you know, say that what you will. The Lego Jurassic Park. This is another Lego game in this pile we have here, and I'm a very big fan of the Jurassic Park / World series, and I've been looking forward to the new movie that's coming out. Hopefully it'll come out soon, you know. But this one only goes up to 4. It doesn't cover Fallen Kingdom or anything like that. But I mean, hey, it's fine. I thought this was great, and I thought it was gonna be a little tough making a Lego game about Jurassic Park, because, you know, people get eaten by dinosaurs. And while it's a PG-13 movie, like where kids can watch it, it's not, you know, it's, I think, a little too, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess mature for Lego, in a sense, where, like, you know, Legos never show people dying, all right? Like, they don't, like, show, obviously, you know, people getting eaten or whatever. So it's like, I wondered how they were going to handle that. And they do handle that in a very funny way, where it doesn't take away from, like, oh, well, that's too corny and kid-friendly and whatever, even though it's a Lego game. It didn't feel like it was slapping me in the face with, like, just, oh, this is for kids and you should be ashamed for playing this. And, you know, it didn't go over the top violent with it, obviously, because it's a Lego game. I'm always a big fan of Lego games, and I'm always a big fan of Legos in general. I'm just a kid at heart, so I mean, like, this game was a lot of fun, and this was a game that I had traded in back in the day, but I rebought it because I wanted to have that game back, and I'm pretty sure I had a good deal completed. Because once you beat all the different stories, you know, you could do other things like get all the collectibles and collect all the characters and stuff. And I got a good chunk way through. I think I got at least 50% of the game completed. Like, as far as collectibles and stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's a fun time. If, you know, besides stuff like Lego Star Wars, you know, Jurassic World's a game I feel like if you're a big Lego fan, you should try and pick up. These next two just recently came out. Kirby and the Forgotten Land and MLB The Show 22. These significant for two reasons. This being the fact that this is the first time Kirby is not stuck in a side-scrolling manner. You are freely able to move around the world as Kirby. They played around a little bit with this in other Kirby games, and admittedly, I never really played to completion a Kirby game. You know, I think you're gonna probably hear me throughout the video game pickups series say I've never done this and I never done that, and that's because for the longest time I was a first-person shooter guy only, and so me collecting the games has kind of been me also discovering things for the first time, like playing certain stuff like Kirby games for the first time and trying to really like appreciate what I missed out on, because this is stuff that I missed out on. Instead of me playing this, I ended up playing other stuff, so I'm kind of catching up in a sense. So I was pretty excited for this when they first announced it, and so to have it here, haven't opened it yet, but I can't wait to try it out. And MLB The Show 22, bought this purely because of the fact that it's on the Switch, and it's so there was one year where I wanted to get like all the sports games. It was 2018. And they had FIFA 18, they had NBA, and they had WWE on the Switch, which was the only year they had WWE on the Switch. But they didn't have baseball, MLB, or at least they had RBI, but I hated that game. They didn't have Madden, they didn't have NHL. There was probably some other thing I was missing. At the time there was no, golf games, there's no, I think there was a tennis game, but not like one where they were making one every year made by somebody, I think there's no like virtual tennis. I think that would have been the tennis game I would have wanted. So at least this fills in one of those spots for me, is that, all right, we got this year's, we got baseball now. It would be nice to have football. It would be nice to have hockey specifically. I really like my hockey games. I don't buy them every year, but the last one I bought was actually the NHL championship thing. It was like an anniversary type game, which is kind of rare to see in sports games. It was on the 360. That was like the last one I went out of my way to buy, and not just was given to me or whatever. So yeah, like this was MLB The Show for the longest time was this PlayStation exclusive, and of course you see the PlayStation logo on a Nintendo Switch game, which is insane to me. I mean, of course, we saw the same thing last year with Xbox. First time MLB was on the Xbox last year, and now they had it again this year. And of course, same deal goes. PlayStation Studios on the cover right there, and it was just insane. Now, unfortunately, they did not have a steelbook for the Switch. Very sad, especially since the steelbook was very unique this year. Typically, the steelbook was always like some baseball referenced thing, which is, makes sense because it's a baseball game. But this year, because they had a Japanese baseball player this time, they went with a anime style cover, which I thought was kind of cool. I was like, oh wow, this is like a very different steelbook than we typically get. So I thought like, oh wow, they kind of went all out this year. So I was like, oh, that's cool. This one I thought was kind of special in a few sense, in the fact that, we have a Japanese baseball player for, I think, first time. I'm not too sure if they've done it in the past, because of course, America's not the only one who has baseball. So, and then, the steelbook being the most unique since, 15, I want to say, because I don't know when the steelbook started, but I know I have the oldest one I have is from MLB 15, and then going from there onward, they were all baseball reference stuff. So, I mean, anime style cover is kind of big departure from baseball themed things. So I thought it was just cool. It was like this flaming background of the cover art, the cover athlete on there, and he just looked really cool, and it was awesome. But yeah, pretty excited to try this out, especially since I know the Switch typically, downgrades things a bit, not, and I don't mean the Switch itself, but like companies who make Switch versions of games that they make for Xbox One and PS4 typically downgrade the Switch version, and sports games are like a big example of that. So I'm hoping that this is not a watered down MLB 22, and that it has all the same stuff that the other one is. I'm not expecting it for it to look as nice as the Series X and PS5 versions, of course. I just hope that it doesn't have cut content or anything like that like those versions have, but this one doesn't. And there is a download required, apparently. Of course, there's they used to have that big banner where it's like, you need to, download, update, and have storage and whatever. I'm glad they don't do that anymore. This is little blurb on the bottom and not this big banner. Just hated that. But now, the most important thing on this, all the games in this pile, these two right here, I bought both versions of Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. If there was any Lego game that was more important than this, I would have said maybe Pirates of the Caribbean, for me personally. That was just a personal thing for me. But I think this is the biggest Lego game series that Lego's ever done. Star Wars, with them making so many Star Wars games for Lego, so many people loving Star Wars, so many people loving Lego Star Wars games, and just everything, the whole deal about it. This, I think, was a long time coming, especially since with the 3 movies coming out and them not doing a Lego game for the last 2, because the last time they did a Lego game was The Force Awakens. And so this, with all the gameplay stuff that we saw, all the trailers and things, I was just so so hyped for it. I cannot wait to like really just 100% everything, get all the collectibles, play this with my brother, because me and my brother love Lego games. Like, we love them to death. And it's like Pirates of the Caribbean and Star Wars were the ones that we played together growing up, and beating those together, it meant a lot. So to have this here, just, you know, trying to get it complete would be like the best, like, coolest experience for me and my brothers. You know, going at, I think, like, what I want to say 10 years later, playing the Lego Star Wars games to its completion, from episode 1 to episode 9, going from the original trilogy to the prequel to the reboot or Disney trilogy. You know, it's just awesome. And of course, we got the regular one for Switch, because this was the original one I bought. And I like, obviously, having the Switch versions because they're portable and you can play them on the TV. You know the whole deal with that. But with this one, specifically the deluxe edition, I was able to find a extra one. And something I was trying to keep hidden, because this like kept falling off and stuff, was, look at that. The cover, like the sleeve, had the helmet and stuff on it. And so you have Darth Vader helmetless on here, which was just such a cool little, like, you know, wink wink nudge nudge sort of deal. I love that. You got the front here, you got the back of it here, so nice. It comes with all the DLC stuff, even comes with a little Lego character of Luke blue milk. You know, I just think that's really funny. And let's just open this up right here. Just get that out. There's the game right there. It's actually not sealed in the inside. Typically, they also seal the inside as well. You know, you got the game right there. The 7 character packs. Mandalorian Season 1 and 2. The Bad Batch. Rogue. Star Wars Story. Classic character set. Solo. Star Wars Story. And the Trooper pack. I mean, like, this is just the ultimate, like, Lego Star Wars thing. Like, they have everything. And then, of course, getting here, I really don't want to rip this open. I'm trying to open this as carefully as possible. You get a little Lego thing, because I thought it was just Luke. Is there more in there? No, I think it's just Luke. I don't have a proper way to open these. I just kind of rip them open. Yep. You actually have to build the milk carton, which I think is funny. Well, there it is. Can I do it with the gloves on? There. Jesus. Well, there's the little milk carton. I don't know if the camera's picking it up good. I think that's pretty funny. And then, of course, we got Luke himself. I actually always liked this outfit of Luke. I know there's the, like that nice Jedi Master outfit that he has in the Return of the Jedi, which is always really nice. But, I mean, I really like this version of him. And, of course, he's got, you know, he has got stains on his mouth from drinking the milk. So I thought it was pretty cool. We just kind of give him a lightsaber. That would have been nice. And they always come with extra pieces, too, in case you're missing something. But, yeah. There you go. That's really all you get with the deluxe one, is it's just nice exclusive minifigure, and then the DLCs included. You can get the DLCs separately. You don't have to get the deluxe to get the DLCs. But really, the only thing that you would need the deluxe for that you can't get anywhere else, I guess, because I don't know if this was in anything else. I think this is only in the deluxe Star Wars saga, is this little guy right here, Luke with the milk. So that'll pretty much be it for today. Please let me know what you guys think about any of the games we had shown off here. I've been Station X, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.